That's enough. Stop. Just need to hear that waveform bumping. Welcome back, Brandon. This is UFC 296 Unplugged. UFC 296 was the last event, or the last UFC event of the year, which means this will more than likely be our last episode of the year, unless we scramble and put together a year-end episode. We are going to do like a form of a year-end episode where we go over our predictions from the previous year and make new predictions and stuff, but I don't know if we're going to get that out before the end of the year. Maybe that'll be like our first episode back, kind of the halfway point, because I think the next card is on January 12th, kind of midway through January. So
that's a ways out.
Yeah, we're going to be in a little bit of a dry spell, but it's all good. I can use the time off. Yeah, UFC 296, we're going to recap all of that, everything that happened inside the cage and some stuff that happened outside of the cage, for sure. But we'll start at the top of the card. The welterweight championship was defended by Leon Edwards for the second time. He earns unanimous decision, 49-46 cards across the board. And my cat wants to come inside, so hold on just a sec.
Let your cat in.
All right. Yeah, so Leon Edwards defends his title again. And this one, I mean, whether you were going for Colby or Leon.
Does your cat, when it calls you, does it like, Ephraim? Like the long ass meow like that? Or is it just like...
Was that really worth stepping on my intro? Really? Was it really? No. We're off to a bad start. All right, Brandon, you intro the show.
Yeah. So the way I see it is it was just a bad fight. It wasn't an entertaining fight. I was pretty much right, but it didn't work out. I just ran out of time. He didn't lose. He just ran out of time. And it's real. You're not going to do the intro, dude.
You were so overwhelmingly wrong, but I wasn't here to make you eat crow or anything like that.
No,
I mean, I admitted as much that I thought, like, on paper it should be a close fight. You know, so I was kind of just as surprised as anybody else that Colby didn't show up.
So shitty. Yeah, that was piss fucking poor and embarrassing. And we've said this a million times on this show. It's like they could whoop, any of these people can whoop the shit out of me if they meet me at like an Ace Hardware fucking parking lot. They kick the shit out of me, and I can train for 5 years. They can wake up out of bed, kick the shit out of me, but I can definitely say that looked like shit. What the fuck? For as much as you run your mouth, you fucking do that. And then you have people fucking, because when you pick Colby Covington, you're not, I mean, some people do, some people don't. I just picked, like, I was doing it the Helen Keller way. Like, I read the way he fought on Braille. And like, damn, this shit sounds fucking sick. Leon Edwards is gonna be Leon Edwards. But you fucking listen, you watch, and you kind of have to like pick everything that comes with this fucking guy. So then you think, well, fuck, his style, it should be Leon Edwards. That's why he waited so long to fucking fight Leon Edwards. You would have thought. And he fucking does that. What the fuck was that, dude? And then you just gaslight everybody like they didn't just fucking watch it for 25 minutes. Get the fuck out of here. Even the fucking dictator president that he fucking blows every fucking week left in the middle of his fucking whatever the fuck promo he was trying to fucking cling on to. Get the fuck out of here. You fucking embarrassed me. You fucking embarrassed everybody. The city of Clovis denounces you. Don't fucking put that shit on there. You're from Oregon. You're not from Clovis. You're from Oregon.
I have to say, I mean, I know I haven't watched every Colby Covington fight, but of the ones I have watched, that was easily the worst performance of them all. And I mean, you do have to take into account like who he was fighting and who his previous opponents were, versus fighting a champ, I guess. But like you said it, man, to talk all that mess and not back it up in any way whatsoever,
any form or fashion. There's like a 3-minute spurt towards the end where it was like, okay, and I have to give it to you, for as wrong as I was about my taking this fight, you were 100 on the other side right about the ring rust portion of it, and fucking take like hand picking fights and not training in between and doing things in between. That was just so evident in what you did. And I did not think his style lent itself to ring rust. I guess I'm just an idiot, because I just thought if you can fucking have cardio, fucking back someone down and just pitter pat score and look good at the end of the last minute 50 of every round, you can win in the UFC. It's a solid weight. It's not fucking
absolutely.
It's not fucking sexy at all, but it's a solid way of winning. And then in championship fights, that shit works with you fucking waiting all fucking day, the lead up, talking shit the whole fucking time. I mean, even Leon Edwards said to such, like, fuck, it took a lot for me to calm the fuck down, because he was talking about my fucking dad in hell and shit, which he probably is in hell. But he said it took a lot for him to fucking calm down.
I'm throwing a yellow flag that the listeners can't see.
He took a lot for him to calm, and like, good on him for being able to like chill off of that. Because that championship fights are just different things, you know. You're even maybe a feature fight like where Shavkat was or something. It's a little bit different. You're on your way out. The thing's still going. Like, you're the last fucking ticket. You're the last song they hear, dude. That's got to be rough. A rough day for everybody. And for Leon Edwards to go through all that, you know, for Leon Edwards to stay, you know, stay fucking in the right mindset when this dude's just fucking saying some of the most lively shit ever, and to like pull it out that way, because if he would have just kicked the fucking living shit out of him, it would have been like, okay, yeah, well, he fucking deserved that. Or if he would have lost because he would have did something stupid, you would have, oh, okay, this is not the way you think it would have happened. In my estimation, I thought he would, if he was going to win, he was going to baseball bat kick him in the fucking liver or something.
It's kind of what I was thinking too.
Yeah, it wasn't going to be just a clean slate, fucking just own this fucking workman-like fucking Volkanovski win and fucking you're on to the next one, dude. Yeah. Because that's basically what it was. And so, but
I predicted a decision, but I kind of thought like they would, like you said, it would be with a little bit more battering of the ribs and the head, you know.
Yeah,
I just didn't think it was going to be such a steady just shutdown of Colby Covington.
Yeah, and who knows even what that is though right now, because Kobe looks so shitty. It's just like I can't get a read. I think this, because I under normal circumstances, like if you take, even Usman as he is today, like as we just saw, who was actually pretty damn good, in his last fight, considering all circumstances considered, I would have taken Usman against Kobe, and even like if it was a trilogy. None of this shit happened, whatever. I would have taken Usman. I would have taken, just because it's like a known quantity. I can kind of like know where I can't get a read on fucking Edwards for whatever fucking reason. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because it's just so weird. Like the Usman fights were just so weird. Like, man, he was getting butt fucked for 24 minutes and 40 seconds. Just like, Jesus Christ, like he does not look like a fucking the champ that he is. And then what he did against Usman, then Usman looks good. You just can't get a read, you know? And I just thought anything you can get a read on is the fucking wrestling cardio and fucking just owning the ring. And that's usually what are the cage. And that's what Kobe does. And he shit the fucking bed. I mean, this shit was rolling down his leg before he even got his fucking warm-ups off.
It was a look where by the end of round one, like there wasn't a whole lot of uncertainty left in my head. Right. I'm like, oh, that's what this fight's going to look like then.
That first takedown, I was like, really, dude? That first takedown attempt was like, what the fuck? Because his hips were just like dead straight. His legs were dead straight. And he was like bent down, forehead down at the ankles. And it's like, bro, how long have you wrestled? That's like a rough look. If you're like a wrestler and like a scrappy wrestler and you're doing that, get the fuck out of here.
It makes me wonder, and I'm sure plenty of other people also wonder, if Colby was coming into this fight with an injury. The only thing that kind of makes me think that might not be the case is like, I mean, we heard all of the ridiculous excuses he gave after the fight. If he really did have an injury, I don't think he would hesitate to tell everybody and just be like, I can't injure this
not.
and that.
the rust came off of him. Like it was slowly but surely. I mean, you had a fucking, there's layers of rust on him, but it was, he looked okay. There was a portion was like, okay, that's him. There's not enough time, dude. And you're not, and like you're not Pavlovich, you're not fucking where Pavlovich could look like shit and he's rusty, but as soon as that rust is gone, you don't need more than 15 seconds. The guy's fucking out. Or Ngannou, same way. Or I mean, fuck. I mean, almost anybody really. Nowadays,
he doesn't have the power to turn it on a dime. Like he needs 15 minutes, or he needs the better part of 3 rounds.
He needs to win for 20 minutes out of a 25-minute fight.
Yeah.
He needs to be like in control, or else it's over. That's really how it is, and it sucks. Like Bilal Muhammad would have been a better fucking fight by like far, and that's like, damn, that's saying a lot, dude.
That is saying quite a bit, yeah.
Yeah, and then Bilal's gonna get fucking jumped because what Dana's gonna see is, this is it. It's just gonna be Colby Leon 2 back to back if you fucking fight Bilal right again. You know what I mean? Like, just let Shavkat fucking frog him. Blame it on his stance on Israel. Let's get over it. Let's just do it. Let Shavkat fight, dude. Who cares?
And I do want to pivot to giving a bit more credit to Leon Edwards too, just in the sense of like what he actually did to shut Colby down, because I think it's pretty easy to look at this fight, and even from us, not just regular people, and be like, dude, what's wrong with Colby? I think a lot of what was wrong with Colby was Leon was beating the piss out of
Edwards, absolutely, yeah. And I mean, fuck, dude. 3 years from now, I mean, shit, not even 3 years from now. I mean, probably in April, we're gonna be like, yeah, he fucking defended against that shit talker fucking Covington, whatever the fuck. Yeah, now he's on trial for fucking tax evasion. Who would have thought? You know what I mean? Like, some crazy shit's gonna come out about Colby now. It's gonna be fucking crazy. He deserves it, and fucking no one's gonna remember. It's a decision win, a unanimous decision win, another jewel in the belt, and that's it.
Yeah, I thought it was funny because in our breakdown of this fight, you said, you know, and not to rub it in your face.
Apologize. I was being very catty and very rude to you, and I'm not going to blame it on anything because my take was right, but I was not talking to my friend. I was like talking to the person I just got off the phone with, who I was very mad. And so like I was like mentally decompressed. I was like, oh yeah. So like, and then you're just the next person. Oh yeah, motherfucker. Okay, well check this fucking shit out. Well, fuck you. Blah, blah, blah. Like you were just like, hey, what's up, dude? How are you today? I'm just like, yeah, motherfucker.
You did come to debate a little bit more last episode.
Yeah,
I did pick up on that.
My fucking
It's all good. I just chalked it up to you.
Some shit out with that.
I just chalked it up to you playing, kind of playing the heel a little bit, like, you know, the whole Kobe
I was
thing,
trying to, and then I kind of leaned into it, and I was also very sober. I was like working with my boss, like on the road with my boss, so I could not be, because at any moment he could be like, "Hey, Brent, meet me downstairs real quick." Well, you know what I mean? And then I can't be just like fucking all fucking, you know what I mean? SoundCloud rapper fucked up in the lobby of some Super 8. You know what I mean? So like I had to fucking keep it. So like I was just like on edge, dude. But like, and then I was like, oh, keep it. I mean, you're picking Colby Covington. You might as well like go all the way with it.
Yeah. And he said like one of the things you had mentioned was, well, obviously you point out the wrestling disparity and said that, you know, Leon can't out wrestle him. And my counterpoint was like, well, he doesn't need to out wrestle him. He just needs to defend the takedowns. Right. But what's crazy is he actually out wrestled him. Because if you count the takedowns, because
he did the opposite of Brandon Royval. Like a part of me like thinks like Royval was in there like getting his treatment, like watching the screen, like fuck, oh, I should have did that shit. What the fuck?
Yeah, Edwards lands 2 out of 3 takedown attempts versus Colby's. Amazing. I think Colby matched him for 2, but it was 2 out of 10 attempts. So statistically, I mean, he out wrestled him. Now, some of that was a little low IQ because I think in that last round, he ended up losing that round. You know, he ended up in a disadvantageous position because he tried to, you know, grapple or go for that arm bar.
Right.
And that probably wasn't smart, but Colby was in no position to really make him pay for it. But ultimately, he came out and it's like Colby he was damned if he did, and he was damned if he didn't. If he was gonna try and set up his double leg with strikes and hide it behind some strikes, Leon showed early on that he was gonna counter the fuck out of him and pop him in the jaw. And if he did it naked, then Leon showed that, okay, I'll just cut a corner and I won't be there. Or, I'll go up against the fence, and his fence wrestling or defensive wrestling looked improved there. Because I just never really thought, like, okay, in the fights that we've seen or that I've watched of Leon Edwards, yeah, he's not the wrestler, but he's never really struck me as a bad defensive wrestler.
Right.
I think, just the best example is Kamaru. And yeah, he gave up some takedowns there, but he was always supposed to give up some. Like, that was just a given. I think he leveled up in that area as much as he needed to.
Yeah.
And what do you think of the character Colby Covington? What do you think of people's appetite for this? Like you mentioned, even after the fight, he didn't drop the shtick. And I think that's one of the most important things. Like, a lot of people draw a lot of comparisons to Chael, who's did this way better than Colby's ever done it, but Chael
is still doing it.
And
Victor just doesn't turn it off. If you're gonna be method actor, dude, be Daniel Day-Lewis. Don't be fucking some schmuck on the Lifetime Network. You know what I'm saying? Like, you really have to be that guy.
But Chael always knew when to turn it off, though. It was always directly after the fight. Basically, he always knew. Okay, post-fight presser, the mask comes off.
Yeah, that's key. And then not even off, but just at least to where it's like, okay, there's a human there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's so stupid. It's just so stupid to me. But it just really makes me mad because it's a good MMA base. Like, I would want, this sounds so fucked up, but it just sounds so weird to say this out loud. But like my son, he likes to fight. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do, if I'm going to put him in training or what, how. You would want him to fight like that.
Yeah.
Just like nonstop fucking punching, fucking wrestling, being able. But then it's like you think about it too. Like, hopefully guys like Marab is watching this and you're just like, this shit doesn't age, dude. You need, skipping over title shots to fucking help your homie out. You're just a year older and your back is more fucked up. Yeah. So you need to fucking pause. You need to fucking strike while the iron is hot, or get something to go along with your fastball. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because you can't, when you style. Yeah, when you have a style like that, you can't sit on the shelf for 2 years.
Yeah.
Because like you said, I completely agree. If we're talking what's the formula for MMA, or if it's to create a character in real life, to basically what's my skill set? Fucking wrestle boxer with great cardio. Boom. I'm completely happy with that. All in.
And then let's travel the world with trainers and trying to figure something out that maybe I have this weird, I just didn't know that I could punch this way, or I didn't know I could do a knee this way, and have something to complement your fastball. That's pretty much all it is. And he just didn't. He's just and your mouth can't pause. Your mouth can't work your way out of this shit. You can only go so far, because your father in hell, great line, fucked up, good line when the fight, because you really want to get someone mad.
It affected him.
God damn. Yeah, it did. Yeah, obviously did. And so that's so crazy though. It's just, I think championship level type shit in this day and age with sports, the way sports are, you can't rely on that way too much, unless it's a cumulative thing, where you see in football or basketball, where you're talking shit throughout the whole game, and then the guys get mad, and then he gets a big penalty, or he flips momentum with a big penalty. You see it in sports all the time, or you get him out. Dennis Rodman used to do it in basketball all the time. You get a guy out of his, but in fighting, it's just you and him. So if it doesn't affect the guy, it doesn't fucking matter, because he's just gonna knock the shit out of you.
Yeah.
So, man,
I don't even know if it could have worked. If Leon Edwards would have came out more aggressive and was still actively pissed off from that comment, I think he probably he probably has a few more lapses. Maybe it's a closer, or he gives Colby some more moments, but I still think he actually just hurts Colby more, if that were the case.
But then it's also Colby, know your role, because yeah, you want to get him off his game because he's thinking about something else, and then you knock him out. It doesn't. You could have fucking ran. You could have took 5 steps, and fucking Edwards hands behind his back and took your best shot, and you wouldn't have knocked Edwards out. So like it only works for certain things. It doesn't work for a rested out fucking wrestle boxer.
Yeah,
that kind of shit works for someone who can fucking boom one like you're just not thinking right, and one shot you're done. You know, like a Drew Dober. If Drew Dober could do shit like that and get people to think about fucking the wrong thing, and then here comes that fucking left and you're out.
Yeah,
this doesn't work that way if you're a wrestle fucker. You know what I mean? Pause.
Yeah, the relentless pace, the relentless pace wrestler. It's also the most taxing on your body. And Colby's 35 now, which isn't always like the end of the road as far as like a fighter's prime, but at welterweight, for him particularly, for his style, it's looking like it might start to be. And like I said, I felt like we had seen him underperform a little bit in previous fights, with like the Masvidal fight, some of the more recent ones, just compared to his fights with Usman, because I'm thinking that if he was still in his Usman form, he should have destroyed Masvidal. We didn't get that, you know. So we're here, and I think he knows it too, because he's calling out Wonder Boy, and that's okay. This is one where I
kick the shit out of him.
Well, this is one. I don't even think that fight happens, but this is one where I will take a victory lap, because I said he wants nothing to do with Shavkat whatsoever. And
no one does.
Nobody does.
Nobody does. Edwards is like fucking. He's gonna drive the contract to Bilal's fucking house, dude. There's no fucking chance that anyone fights. That's someone else's problem, dude. That's like Shavkat's like global warming, dude. Like, just let someone else deal with that shit, bro. Because like, I'm just trying to live right now, player. Like, fuck that, dude.
All props to Edwards, but I gotta say I was pretty disappointed in his post-fight presser, because he also waved both of those guys off. He said he doesn't feel like the Bilal fight makes sense, when it's like, he said, I had to work my ass off and win like 10 fights in a row to get this shot. Jeez. Bilal is literally on a 10-fight win streak, so dog, what are you talking about? Said he's not interested in Shavkat, and it's like, bro, who do you want to fight? Those are your guys.
Yeah, the dude just fucking owned a legend like a couple minutes before you. And the ring was still warm when you fucking walked in there from that fucking chokeout that he gave him. And you're fucking gonna say fucking you don't. It's crazy. It is pretty fucking stupid.
Yeah,
that's just this since GSP's been gone. That's just this fucking division in a fucking nutshell, dude. It's just stupid. Because there's potential there, but it just won't get realized.
Yeah. Whether it's the champion doing it or whether it's Dana doing it with the guys on the way up, there's always been some kind of a logjam. Yeah.
It's just a curse. Yeah.
Let's hope that clears up. I think I agree. I think Shavkat's going to end up jumping over Bilal, which is going to be so fucked up. But
great,
hey,
I love it. I don't care.
What's going to happen?
I really don't care. Bilal Muhammad's been annoying, dude, and you're just annoying. For me, like, it's just annoying to me, because it's just like, pick a lane.
My thing with the whole Bilal thing, well, obviously, you know, I don't like hate Bilal or anything like that. I've picked him in a lot of fights. I think I just kind of wish people would stop pretending like if Bilal gets a title shot, like it's going to be the last title shot that anyone ever gets. Basically, we're just like, dude, let Bilal have his shot, and then the division will move on. Because I don't think Bilal beats Edwards, despite the fact I picked him against Sean Brady, Luque, Wonder Boy, Gilbert. Like, if betting was legal and I was a betting man, like, hey, Bilal would have made me some money up until now. But I do think that the buck stops at Leon Edwards. I'm just like, get him, you know, give him his shot, get him out of the way, and we can move on from that. And then Shavkat can have one more. Like, I think Shavkat should fight Colby. I think Colby should fight Shavkat. I don't know why I felt the need to reverse the names, but
he'll just retire, dude.
Probably. But yeah, one of those guys will be up next, and I think it's both. One is a solid fight for everybody. Probably, I think the Bilal fight would be solid also.
Yeah.
Let's see. Anything else that we got to talk about from the main event, or can we go ahead and move on to the co-main?
How funny it was, like the wild ass shit Colby said, and then his Edwards' cornerman was like kind of talking shit after, and then Dane's like, "That's uncalled for. That's just, I mean, bush league. Like, dude, you let fucking Habib jump into the fucking crowd, and you were just like, hey, that's how he is, man. You know what I mean? Nah, and then so this guy's talking shit to Kobe's corner, or talking shit back, and it's like uncalled for. That's
basically threatened to fine them. I mean, he didn't say it directly, but he said, if this goes the way that it could go, you'll get fined. And it's like, bro, you're the one that's always talking about, anything goes. We don't censor what anyone says. It's the fight business. So, I guess at that point, he didn't care because they're not selling that fight anymore. Whoever was going to pay for that fight already did. So, kind of foolish, but that won't be the first nor the last time Dana is incredibly hypocritical.
Right, on brand for him. Yeah. No, but good call, dude. You called it right. I should have really I just did not think that. I always just thought maybe like a fucking heavy, like someone who's very timing heavy was ring. I didn't, because everyone says does ring rust exist or does it not? Like a version of it does, but I just thought someone that was. Like fucking Colby's not like an Anderson Silva in the zone timing type of guy, you know what I mean? So I just didn't think it would affect. I was dead wrong.
And Edwards put a lot of money in the bank with the leg kicks too. I feel like the version, whatever version of Colby we saw in round one, maybe Edwards doesn't throw any leg kicks. I don't even know why I'm hypothesizing about it, but I think that was a big part of the reason, like you mentioned, that when he tried for those takedowns, he couldn't even bend his knees anymore.
It didn't look good. It didn't look right at all.
Yeah, that was a bad look. Shout out to the close ninja choke attempt from Edwards. That was pretty slick escape too. I'd never seen that, to where Colby did the whole like fucking spinneroo to get out of it. I was like, oh fuck, like that still goes to show, like, nah, dude, when it comes to grappling, there are still levels that Leon hadn't even considered at that point, because he was like little fucking gator roll out of it. Yeah, sick. Yep. Co-main, Alexandre Pantoja defends against Brandon Royval in a close. Was it really close though? What am I saying here? I guess I think Brandon Royval lasted. No. Brandon Royval performed like I thought he would. I'm starting to learn that Alexandre Pantoja probably has a little bit of a cardio issue, but he's also still very impressive in that he's just willing to fight through it. Like, he wears it on his sleeve.
I think he has a bad poker face, because I think a lot of guys get very tired, but he just like kind of wears it a little worse than some other people do. Because, I'm sure some of these guys are just like, fuck, dude, if no one was looking, I'd be like, oh, God, like gasping. But I think he's just kind of like, fuck, I'm fucking tired. I don't give a fuck. Everybody gets tired. Yeah. Because, I mean, also, though, one thing that's kind of like telling now that I'm thinking about it is like watching like the lead ups and stuff. They kept showing him working out, like doing like cardio circuits and stuff. And it's like, why do you keep showing that? Like, we get it, dude. Like, I want to see you doing some like wild ass like jujitsu shit, or like kneecapping someone. Like, I get it, dude. You use a verse climber, like that's cool. But maybe he was like kind of like, no, dude, I got it. Like, I got it. See, like, look at me. I can do it. I can do it.
Also, too, when I see that and it's a flyweight, I think like, well, I mean, fucking flyweights probably just naturally have good cardio.
Yeah, you don't even have to. Yeah.
Yeah, I expect to see a crazy pace when it comes to that. But
yeah, bro, you're like 90 pounds, dude. Like, I mean, okay.
I would say the fight probably went how I was expecting it to, but without a finish, because I did think that Pantoja might get the finish again. But Brandon Royval
he's very good. That was a very and I don't always like tip the cat to Rogan or whoever, or I mean Rogan especially, but when you think about it, it was just like super fucking high level what they were doing, and it makes it look boring, because like some of those, like it was like, oh, whoa, like that was nice, and it was just very high level chess game. And then like Pantoja kind of like apologized at the end, but was like, nah, dude, like that shit, you guys are fucking getting down. It just wasn't the way that's on brand for either of those guys, because most of those guys do some slick ass highlight fucking real shit.
Yeah.
And they just kind of neutralized each other. But I think Pantoja is just that mix. I think I was thinking about this, like on the way over here, with like getting ready for this, was like, this is an awesome time to be for us to grow up as fans, because the Pantojas, these guys are like, they're just everything. Like the Morenos, the Brand Morenos who we just fought. We're seeing like not the Jujovers, but just there's so many of the guys. It was like where Cub Swanson was kind of like the one guy you can point to of like the new age of fucking MMA, where you train everything, that you're just good in every little part of it. Every guy's like that now. And so or at least the top 5 of every division, give or take each division, but like there's just so many killers that can do fucking everything now.
Yeah. And
it's like the golden era for that, where it's still, for a guy like me, it blows my mind to see someone so well rounded all the way around. It really blows my mind, because we come from the Mark Kerr and fucking, you know what I mean? That type of shit, the Crow Cop years, where it's just like, if that shit kind of moves a certain way, the shit's over. You don't even want to watch the shit.
Yeah, no, when we started watching, and it's not to make it sound like we watched like at the very dawn of MMA, but still, when we started, like, dudes were out here winning titles who had like pretty much one weapon, like, and like you mentioned Crow Cop, or I'm thinking like fucking Marius Zaromskis and shit like that, just fucking head kicking the fuck out of dudes. And Pantoja, you mentioned that, and I almost kind of feel like he's a little bit of a throwback, because he doesn't really got much going on with his hands. He's got power. He's got power and all right timing.
Mean hands. They're like, he puts them where they need to be, and it's mean when it gets there.
Yeah, because in that first round, Brandon Royval kind of tried to close the distance on him and get inside to throw something, and he hit him with like this, like a standing like hammer fist.
Yeah,
and it totally just stopped him in his tracks.
It was like a praying mantis fucking shot. Yeah, that was crazy.
And I mean, you mentioned him like apologizing for his performance, but it's weird. It's tough, because it is one of those deals. Like, what are you apologizing for? Really, like, apologizing for winning the fight? Because Pantoja did what he really needed to do to win that fight. Because if he had ever thought about being like, well, this isn't very entertaining or exciting for the fans, so fuck it, we'll stand, he would have lost that fight. I think if that fight stays standing, Brandon Royval is our new champion. So. No need to apologize whatsoever, because at that point,
that's a great point. Yeah, and Royval's so good. Royval is so good, man. That really sucks that he got washed out, wrong place. Like, that just really sucks for guys like him. And how many of those guys are out there where it's just wrong place, wrong time? Like, if it would have been a different champ, he probably would have had it, dude. That sucks.
Yeah, I mean, the fortunate thing for him is that it's not a shallow division, but it is one where there are still basically a couple of guys who stick in everybody's head, namely Brandon Moreno, and he's probably gonna fight. I keep on for not Abus. Forget about the other Albazi. And I mean, that's it's kind of tough, but like, if you're Brandon Royval, you got to stop and think like, okay, Brandon Moreno's technically going to be trying to vie for a 4th fight with Pantoja, because he had lost to him on the Ultimate Fighter, and then in the UFC previously, and then he lost his title to Pantoja. So it's almost a little bit of a tough ask to think that Brandon Moreno is going to be able to just get back in there with Pantoja again. But it also means that the line is potentially a little bit shorter for Royval, even though Royval now has 2 losses to Pantoja. So it's tough, but he could make a case for it, and I don't think that this. I think he's still got a few stellar highlight reel performances in him in order to do that. But people just got to be willing to give these flyweights a chance.
He'll be around. It's not a death sentence for him. He didn't fucking like pull a Colby Covington by any means. Like, he's there.
No, good fight. Just sadly, probably a little bit forgettable for a lot of people. The other welterweight fight of the evening, our boy Shavkat Rakhmonov, man, gets in there, and does his thing against Wonder Boy. The first the first round, a little uneventful. His takedown offense doesn't really look super potent. It's just kind of holding Wonder Boy up against the cage. We got to give Wonder Boy credit for that. I mean, that was solid takedown defense by Wonder Boy. So that's still something that he's got, something he could flex a little bit. But in the second round, the wheels
held him off with one leg. There was a couple of times where he was on one leg and he didn't get taken down by fucking the like boss mode White Muzzy. He was like one leg takedown, dude. That's sick. That's American. That's fuck yeah, dude. Like that's one for us boys, dude. Like the regular American cat caucus mountains motherfuckers, like the regular dudes. But damn, that shit was sick though. He had him like basically like 1 foot up, one leg all the way up by his ear, and like trying to like take him down, and he couldn't do it. That's crazy for a karate master to stop you with that shit. Yeah. That's sick as fuck.
Yeah, so props to him there. But a guy, I think this is why Mike was so skeptical of Shavkat, and even in this performance was still kind of underwhelmed by it, because I was watching the fights with Mike. Is that he is very, I know I like to call him a marauder and all of that too, and compare him to like Mongol warriors and shit like that.
Yeah, we kind of like do a little disservice to ourselves as fans, because we're just like, oh man, this is history here, son. Like,
but he definitely doesn't fight like a berserker. He doesn't really take a lot of undue risk, but he is just very, very solid, very good everywhere. And when he gets you on the ground, like he will smother you and go for the finish. I mean, 18 fights, 18 wins, 18 finishes. It speaks for itself. It might not be flashy, but he is just a punishing guy, man. I don't really know what else to say about it, because other than, I guess, I'm disappointed that it had to be Wonder Boy. Not like, oh, I don't want Wonder Boy to lose. More just, we could have had a better gauge for where Shavkat is at. We could have had somebody who's going to bring more of a fight out of him, because this is pretty much a walk out of park. Shavkat was never in any danger at all.
Yeah, and I think too, on the flip side of it, because then you start just slobbing knobs, by saying this, but Wonder Boy isn't a traditional like wrestler, slinglet and A6 wrestler. He's not one of those types of dudes. So maybe it was harder for Shavkat to get that takedown because it's a non-traditional defense. Where he's going up against like as traditional as it gets with wrestling. Yeah, you know what I mean. So he probably just didn't understand how to get. Which, I mean, that's part of being a MMA fighter, a champion, is to know how to do it from all these different positions and whatever have you, against different styles. But because if you put, I honestly believe if you put Shavkat in there with someone like a Bilal or Colby, who are traditional wrestlers, he's going to show you the level of wrestling that's like substantial, like what matters, the level of wrestling. You know what I'm saying? But like against a karate guy who like had to train a certain way to not get taken down, it kind of was probably maybe a little clunky for him. But that like cement truck fucking like power that he has is just fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah. Plus, you need actual time in the cage, like live rounds, to get better. And if he keeps putting everyone away, he never gets the chance. So, there's a factor. That's a factor there. And of course, he doesn't really. He calls for the title in his post-fight interview, and there isn't a whole much else there. I mean, he is pretty much a granite slab as far as personality goes. Like, he's just fucking what up, Kazakhstan. My understanding, having listened to a couple other like more informed like members of the media talking about Shavkat, is that he's actually, now I don't know if this is worth anything to the UFC really, but he's actually kind of getting big in Kazakhstan, because he's
that's what dude, crazy that you said that. But like he's like fucking Shohei Ohtani over there. Like he's like the guy. Which like, what does that really say? But like if you look at like a Triple G, like he's like supreme leader there. You know what I'm saying? And it's not a for us culturally, there's just like everybody. Like, Michael Jordan. Blah, blah, blah. But to actually be the Michael Jordan of your country, like your whole ass country, that's pretty fucking crazy,
Yeah, and it might be easy for us to dismiss it and be like, well, I don't got much else, and that might be true. Honestly, not even just to slam dunk on Kazakhstan,
but that shit's like they do that like hawk fucking hunting, where they're like driving in a Jeep Patriot and then they like find fucking like something running down the street and they like let a hawk go. Mm-hmm. That's like their national sport and shit. So like falconry or whatever the fuck, right?
Yeah,
am I right?
Yeah.
Is that where?
Oh, I don't know if that's the actual term for it, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah, like dude, fucking every satellite in the sky can fall out of the sky, and a lot of motherfuckers from Kazakhstan probably wouldn't know or care. Wouldn't change a single thing in their day. Which sounds so ridiculous, but yeah, man, he is that, and like I said, I don't know if that really translates much for the UFC or if they're thinking much about that, like ambitiously, like, oh, we got to make this move in Kazakhstan. But it's probably got to be good to know. It's like, okay, if this is the guy that we're gonna insert into another title fight with, or into a title fight with Leon, like if we decide to go and make that happen in that part of the world, like we could at least expect that he's gonna sell out if we do a card in Kazakhstan, which I don't even know if that's possible or something that they would even think of doing, but they could take him to Abu Dhabi. You know, he's
his shit in there real well over there. Yeah,
it would work out just fine for him. So more marauding for Shavkat Rakhmonov. All right, let's get to one of the more downer fights of the card, and the part where it's just getting sad at this point. It's been sad. It's just
been quite sad.
I think we're also kind of like getting into a territory of like, okay, what are we selling people at this point? But Tony Ferguson versus Paddy Pimblett. Before we even get into the fight, I think that just there was so much drama around Colby, around Sean Strickland and Dricus du Plessis and everything. And just so many people
that was playing, pretty fucking cool.
And we'll get into that too. But just so many people just being bad actors across the board and all kinds of ruckus that Paddy Pimblett, who's usually the kind of person who's stirring up some kind of commotion with the things that he says and being polarizing as a figure, as a fighter, really kind of slipped through the cracks on this one and played it, under the radar.
Right. And he looked great though. He looked good. He looks like shit sometimes, but he looked good. Like he looked like the weight cut wasn't crazy. Mm-hmm. He looked like he was in the best shape of his life.
He actually looked buff, because to me he'd always just look either, obviously he gets like really chubby, and I think most of it is face fat, to be honest, because just how fat he looks from the face just doesn't make any sense, But then obviously when he shows up for fight night, he's chiseled. But this one he specifically looked yoked, like he looked fucking great. Juicy.
I was like, fuck. I just watched him like walk out. I was all fuck, because I really just haven't had a ton of time. Because like normally, especially for a card like this, I do a lot more, pre-fight, like I don't want to say research or whatever, but like I'm more plugged in, to the media stuff, to what the guys are saying, how the guys' camps are going, what the kind of like drama of the day is, subplots or whatever the fuck. So I would have been like, oh man, Paddy looks good, blah, blah. I basically just fucking watched like a couple Instagram fucking like real promo shit, because it's just fucking busy time of year for me. And then I just turn on the fight and I lean on, well, I've watched these guys fight for a long time and I kind of know what I'm going to see. Then you see like Paddy and you're just like, God damn, he looks fucking Tony's dead, dude. And so, I mean, he almost got him out of there, but this is like BJ Penn, Ryan Hall territory, dude. It's just like, it just really sucks that they're doing that. Yeah. If you were a class organization, like it should have been done 3 years ago. It should have not happened. But it's just a really fucked up. And so this is the worst. And I mentioned it, and I'm sorry I cut you off because I know you're about to make a good point, but no, I'm not being sarcastic. Fuck it. It's like I normally am. But where I said earlier, where it's like a golden year for being an MMA fan, of seeing, like, you're seeing fucking guys like we've had to see like fucking BJ Penn go through it. We had to see like Chuck Liddell go through it. We had to see all these guys go through this shit. And it's so it's like to the extreme with Tony Ferguson. It's like to like the farthest levels of the extreme, because we would see that on like we'd be watching like Dream, or we'd be watching, you know, Strike Force or some other, and then they kind of go fuck off somewhere else and die. You know what I mean? Like, just don't do it on my porch. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
a good point. Yeah, a lot of times that dip, we start to see the very beginning of it happen in the UFC, and then later it's just pathetic somewhere else where it's not in the mainstream, it's not in the spotlight.
Yeah, you kind of like, it's like an afterthought on like a forum where it's like, in other news, Tony Ferguson lost in fucking wherever the fuck, you know, at Manteca, at the Manteca Event Center, and it's like, oh, okay, whatever. Now we're like having to watch it on fucking pay-per-views, and
we've been watching Tony's like ragdoll limp body just like bouncing down a cliff, like just fucking bashing on the rocks the whole way down,
and no music. It's like when that part of the movie where they just turn the music off. It's like Born Identity, or like what where there's just like no, it's just like straight sounds of thuds.
It's like when a falcon grabs like a fucking mountain goat and just like knocks it off its perch and just
man, it's just awful.
Tony. I stop and I think I there's got to be a pretty respectable contingent of fans who are watching right now who are probably thinking, why does the UFC keep serving this guy up to us? Because they weren't watching any of his winning streak. Because if you think like 2020, a lot of people jumped on board during the pandemic because they were the only show in town for a little while. So I think they got a lot of new fans during that time, and they jumped on just in time to see him get absolutely pasted by Justin Gaethje, and then everything after that. So they've literally never seen Tony's golden years.
That's what's so sad about this for me, dude, because I really liked on the Ultimate. I say this like unsarcastically. Like I remember I said it to Mike, where Mike was like, "Who the fuck likes Tony Ferguson?" I go, "I did." Like, I really liked watching this guy fight, and like Mike thought I was like committed to the bit or whatever. And I was like, "No, dude, that shit was sick." Like one of the cooler things. Like I legit wanted to see him kick the shit out of Conor McGregor. Like there was a point in my life where I go, he can kick the shit out of Conor McGregor if he really fucking. Prime Tony Ferguson, I think, really kicks the shit. He never beats Khabib. I mean, it's that video of Khabib striking that I showed you was pretty fucking wild. Like, but I think
he could have beat Conor. Yeah, he absolutely could have punished Conor.
He would have razor blade opened Conor McGregor's face up all over everybody's fucking living room.
Even if Conor makes it out of a round and comes out and manages to blast him in the beginning of the next round before he gets taken down and knocks him out, he would have made Conor wear a mask of his own blood, like, for sure.
Yeah. And that was the going joke with fucking Ferguson, was like, these are what all the last four fighters, this is what he did to all of these guys. And these motherfuckers, they weren't fucking nobodies. He Carlos Condit, like what he did to Carlos Condit was insane. Like he just like fucking killed people. He made them look different.
Yeah.
And like not look different in their fight style, like their face for like the rest of their life. So it's just like, shit, dude. What the fuck? It's really weird now. It's just like not funny anymore. And it's been like that for like 4 fights now. And before, it kind of sucked in the first, 3 or however many fights in a row he lost. But now it's just like, this is gross. Like, this is like sick. Like, this is like some type of ritualistic thing.
And now the media asked Dana, what he would like to see for Tony Ferguson moving forward. Dana says he would like to see him retire. And I'm thinking, then cut him then. Like, he may not be guaranteed to retire, but if you really don't think that this guy has anything left to offer you or your organization, just cut him. Don't book him in another fight, because if Tony doesn't retire, Dana's gonna book him again, because for some reason we are still tuning in to see Tony do. And
we're forced to.
We are forced to, yeah.
So price of admission, because it's like, do you want to watch Tony Ferguson or Shavkat? I want to be like, okay, well, what do you mean? But it's like, you have to watch it because you want to see Shavkat fight, right? And I guess I don't have to physically be there.
Yeah.
But I pay for the pay-per-view, so I have to pay for Tony, right?
I do think that they've officially squeezed all the juice out of this, though, because this was like the last thing that they needed for Patty, or I guess to get Patty back on track, because in a lot of people's minds, like, he lost that fight to Jared Gordon, which he absolutely did, despite the decision. Yeah. So this was like the perfect blend of Tony has a name, he's a guy a lot of people recognize. And he's not just like, oh, who the fuck is Patty fighting this time, you know? So people know him, and Patty gets that win. And, you know, Patty said it himself. It's kind of a lose-lose for anybody who's paying attention, because you beat a guy who's on a 6-fight losing streak, and it's exactly that, or you potentially lose to that guy. I think there was a little bit of, you know, some of that timidness that I mentioned, or maybe not even timidness, just not being so bombastic from Patty. I think part of that is like, okay, I can't be that guy for this fight, because if I come out being the typical Patty saying I'm the show, everyone's here to fucking see me, I'm the future of this thing, and then you lose to Tony, that's over. You can't come back from that.
Tony. It's not even like I lose to Tony. It's like everybody at the pay-per-view looks over like, you're fighting Tony.
Chill, dog. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't even like win, lose, doesn't matter, dude. You're fighting against Tony. What does that say about you? Yeah. Get the fuck out of here.
Right now, and this is a little bit of a sidebar, I guess, but I think that the boys in the office are really, really reeling and trying to figure out what they're going to do for UFC 300, because Dana has sold some shit to the media officially, and he basically came out and said UFC 300 is going to be so wild, like the first fight of the night, everyone's going to go like, holy fuck, that's the first fight? How the fuck? What's the rest of the card going to be like?
Now, I'm so glad that I'm on this with you, like particularly with you, because you do pay attention to more of like the press conferences. Like, you're actually like, you really pay attention to that, not to the level of just like sitting through it watching, but you kind of can read between the lines, and you kind of can see like the patterns, and you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Yeah. I've always admired that about you, where you can kind of like watch those things and kind of read the tea leaves, like kind of like read the Dana-ism, you know what I mean? like how Dana like talks in the language he speaks, because like we've said this before, like he tells you what's going to happen, you just have to sit there and listen to him talk, and like you have to like read between what crazy bullshit he's saying. And you do a really good job of that. So like, what do you think's going to happen? Like, what do you feel like?
Well, I think that just because it doesn't make any sense as scheduling wise for many of the other champions, because for a card like UFC 300, you know that they'd love to put like 3 title fights on that shit.
They have to.
It doesn't really look like they're going to be able to put together many. Alex Pereira might fight on that card.
Okay, cool.
That might work out as far as the timeline. I don't know who he's going to fight actually, but I think that they could get him on there. Right now, a little while ago, Zhang Wei Li posted like, "Hey, Alexa Grasso, let's fucking do this." And Alexa Grasso was like, "Yes, I would love to do that for UFC 300." So that might be something they're going to do with WMMA.
Or whoever it is that had their phones. Okay.
So that's potentially 2 title fights. One being a champ or a women's fight, which is pretty cool for me. Maybe not
just
super
tricked them
cool
into lunch and then grabbed their phones and like did that shit and like give it back to them.
And then obviously they're definitely going to try and put Conor on that card, but I don't know with what Dana has come out and said about how stacked this card is supposed to be. I know they obviously can't live up to that, but I think they probably still march Tony Ferguson out there for one more, because he'll say yes. Because Tony will say yes.
There, right?
Jim Miller has to be on there. Absolutely.
He's on there, right? He's 100, 200, 300. Sick as fuck. That's badass.
Incredible. Like something that no one else could ever say that they were able to do. Because you're not dragging anybody from 200 out to fight on this. Yeah. Well, yeah, nobody who was. It goes without saying.
GSP was on. Was GSP on that? If I'm not mistaken? I'm sure he could fight right now.
He was on UFC 100, but not 200.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Damn.
So
can we pull up the UFC 200 fight? Can we, this as a mental exercise?
Yeah.
UFC 200, because that's crazy. Man, this is awesome podcasting now.
UFC.
Miesha Tate and Amanda Nunes? Is that right? Am I looking at that correct? Brock Lesnar, Mark Hunt.
I think Tate versus Nunes was originally on there, but I believe Nunes pulled out with because she had a sinus infection.
It says she won by submission in the first round.
Never mind. Yeah, she did actually compete on that.
Yeah, okay. Oh, well, this is actually kind of sick. Aldo, Frankie Edgar. Okay, sick. Cain Velasquez, Travis Brown. Okay, sick. Cormier, Anderson Silva. What the fuck?
It was supposed to be Cormier and Jones again, but Jones had to pull out for Jones reasons.
Right.
So
Lesnar and Hunt. Amanda Nunes is sick. That's pretty sick though to do that.
Okay, Joe Lozon. I was gonna say Tony Ferguson, Joe Lozon's the last fight they could do for Tony that makes any kind of sense. Was Joe Lozon on UFC 100? Because that wouldn't surprise me if he was. He could be.
Super Sage Northcutt is still fucking around.
He's over in Japan getting knocked out by Cosmo Alexander. That's fucked up. That happened a long time ago. He's not doing that now. Although I don't remember.
Jim Miller was the curtain jerker. Gegard Mousasi. Tiago Kunitskaya. Joe Lozon. That's crazy, dude.
It was a stacked card. I would say.
Yeah, it was a good card.
This Enrique Marin, Sage's opponent
John
for this
Jones
one,
fights on that card. That's crazy.
Yeah, there was only one fighter who I don't know on that card, and at the time maybe there was more. Maybe I'm sure I didn't know or really care about Thiago Santos at that point. But aside from that, everyone else is like a fighter who I was aware of, and I was like, okay, that's a fight. Maybe not Johnny Hendricks yet either at that point, but yeah. So anyways, just kind of spitballing, thinking what they're going to do for 300 and worried that they're still going to sell us a Tony Ferguson fight on that card. But I mean, if it's against a guy like Joe Lozon, who is still technically signed by what
would you say if he fights? Well, Connor's so much bigger now. Like Connor's not bigger like celebrity wise, but just like weight class. Physically. Like he's not that same weight class anymore.
I'd be surprised if Connor fights at lightweight again. I don't think that they go that direction because, and also it's just a bad look for Connor because Connor would be like, really. But then again, Connor once called for a fight with Diego Sanchez in those leaked text messages between him and Dana, where he was like, "Fuck it, let me fight Diego." And it's like everyone was like, "The fuck are you talking about?" Diego's hanging upside down, getting beaten by his like scammer like trainer right now. This is the guy you want to fight. Yeah, so,
those YouTube videos about that guy, that Joshua Fabia, that shit is like dark fucking backroom shit, dude.
Very predatory, and to think about like him. Whole like blackmailing Diego, or afterwards coming out and saying like Diego is retarded and all that stuff, and special needs and everything. And turns out Diego is a little bit special, like that's so fucked up that he took it there.
Well, who didn't know that though? That's the thing. Like, sure, he's on the spectrum, dude, but like a lot of us are. So in like some way, and like he was so good at what he. I mean, if I had to have a mental issue, I would want to be like a Diego Sanchez, to where at least you have a talent. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? A lot of us don't have that. So like, we're just dealing with fucking, you know what I mean? We're working at the mall and shit.
I think a lot of us had Diego pegged for being off at the very least.
Yeah, of course,
for sure.
Yeah.
Last fight.
The turns that this shit takes, dude. But like, so can we? Man, this is kind of hard to do it. I want to put you on the spot though. Go ahead, do what you gotta do. No,
I was. Well, okay. Well, I'll just do the transition that I was gonna do. Like, speaking of special needs, let's talk about how let's talk about how Josh Emmett made Bryson Mitchell special.
Oh my God. But Bryce, dude, congratulations to him though, because he handled it cool. Like his post, he's like, I'm okay. I really want to thank him for like not killing me, because he could have killed me.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I could have been different. I could be dead right now. Josh Emmett was like respectful. He walked away. He celebrated his knockout, and that was it. But if he would have hammer fisted me, I would have died. He's like, I'm building this barn right here. It's like, oh, sick. Fuck yeah, dude. Okay. Hell yeah. Like, that's a good way to do it. And like, he looked fine. He's like, I'm fine. He's like, the shit looked like it hurt, but it really didn't. He's like, I don't even know what the fuck happened. So like, that's good for me. Right.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the more wholesome things that I saw MMA related today, was him thanking Josh Emmett for that, because for one, like a lot of these guys in this game, they can't drop any of the tough guy act at all. And that's not to say that they're all out here posturing and puffing their chest out, but I don't think
culturally too. Yeah, some of the guys, because they're not all American dudes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're not all, are not to say like America is better or whatever, but like I feel like Americans are more comfortable with like kind of like not being themselves or whatever, but like not having to play like hyper macho all the fucking time, you know? Like you can kind of like
take. I don't know if I agree, and in fact, I think I disagree so much that I'm kind of surprised that it came from Bryce Mitchell, sort of. Okay, because fair. I kind of felt the inverse, not to even be like argumentative about it, but
no, you're right.
But at the end of the day, I mean, it comes down to the fighter, I guess. But yeah, I thought that was
it's case by case, sure.
Yeah,
because because Bryce Mitchell is basically really what Colby is without even trying. You know what I mean? It's just like he doesn't have to try to be Kobe, he just is. So for him to be like real about shit and be like, dude, thanks for not killing me, dog. Like that's hella cool. Yeah.
I imagine he's a little perplexed or bewildered by Colby in a sense. Like when you see, do you ever watch Wild Boys back in the day when they'd like go out to the savannah and they'd be like dressed?
I remember, I've seen that. Yeah, because I was a big Jackass fan, but I never got into Wild Boys. I don't know why, but that seemed like it was such a cool show.
Yeah, where like they would dress up as a lion and sneak up to actual lions, and I just imagine Bryce Mitchell seeing Colby is kind of like that. Like, I don't know, like he's like me, but he don't, something's off. So not a whole lot to say about that actual fight. Josh Emmett puts Bryce Mitchell in what did they say? They sent him to the shadow realm. It was a really scary one. Bryce Mitchell was convulsing. I would say I've been watching for like MMA for like 15, 16 years, and that was up there with Vitor Belfort's knockout of Matt Lindland at Affliction 1.
Brendan Schaub trying to like grab at like a ghost. Remember that?
That one was bad
that Ben Rothwell that did that to him?
I think I don't remember who it was, but I it's burned into my memory of him just like reaching for the sky.
He's like reaching, like climbing a fucking rope or something.
There's been some bad ones, but this one was particularly bad, and Joe Rogan fucking lost his mind a little bit and rightfully so, because I don't know what they were thinking having Bryce Mitchell actually walk out of that cage. Like maybe he didn't need a full on stretcher, but they needed to put him in a wheelchair immediately. Brandon's coughing.
Sorry, did I muted it though?
No, I didn't hear it. Yeah, it was
okay. Good, yeah.
To let the listeners know, it was funny.
Sorry, man. I hit the cough button.
No, it was perfect. Yeah, man, tough break for Bryce Mitchell. It's kind of hard to even imagine that. I don't even like want to think about the future for him for right now. I think he should take some extended time off after that kind of knockout for sure. And Josh Emmett is firmly back in the mix. You said you were going to put me on the spot about something, though?
Yeah, no, I was going to. Yeah, but now that I think about it, it's like too much to ask. But like, because we talk a lot, but not on this setting. So, like, what's your, like UFC 300? You know what I mean? Like, what does that look like to you, specifically you? Main card.
I'll twat up and down the card. The main card let's see. I'm cool if Alex Pereira's on there. If they can get Pereira in there with Jamal Hill, that'd be sick. Although I don't know if Jamal Hill can.
What if Stylebender comes up to light heavyweight?
Oh, that's right. I forgot he did call out Stylebender. Now that would be an acceptable fight for UFC 300. It wouldn't be my main preference just because we've seen that fight already twice in the UFC and we know it's happened more before. So if I'm being a little bit selfish, I just would want something a more fresh matchup. But I think that would be good. No, I wouldn't look at that and be like, oh, really? That's it for UFC 300? I would want to see. I would love to see John Jones fight Tommy Aspinall because schedule wise, I think that I didn't think about it when I brought it up earlier.
Yeah, like you fucked us on 200. Come on now, you owe us this thing. Like, come on, dude.
I forgot that schedule wise, that one actually could happen. So I would love to see that. And dude, even with just those two fights, and like I mentioned, in the group chat, I don't like that this is a potential direction they could go since both Zhang Weili and Alexa Grasso only have one defense each. But if those girls want to get in there and fight and do the
that's a sick fight though.
champ thing, it is a sick fight.
Blanchfield, like I think I said in the group chat, it sucks for Blanchfield and Suarez because if you look at their resumes, it's like, damn, there's no better. I mean, it doesn't. Regardless of gender, there's no two better contenders right now. Resume wise, skill wise, everything they check every box, and that just sucks for that to happen. But it's like this is business. It's UFC 300, so you kind of that sucks, guys. But
yeah, and I think they're both team players too, so they would step aside. Granted, Tatiana Suarez is booked against Amanda Lemos for February, so she probably wouldn't be looking to fight on. Well, she's already not up next for the title shot because of that fight. And Blanchfield isn't booked, but she's most likely going to fight Manon Fiorot. So, I mean, I guess kind of makes sense. It's a little early for this to be happening, but it doesn't really disrupt contenders. They might have to wait a little longer than they would, but I don't think they're going to be like screwed out of a shot unless it turns into a fucking trilogy, which there's always a potential for that to happen.
Yeah. Okay.
And then throw Connor on there because that's going to happen. I mean, but you asked what Connor, my dream card would be, so I mean, I'm over here thinking about.
I always assumed he was on your. I'm joking, dude.
I got one more. Yeah. If it's a magic wand thing, if it doesn't have to make sense, Shavkat versus Khamzat Chimaev.
Yes.
Just fucking all over my face, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be all about that.
That's like that's the first one out, and they're just playing like the like call to prayer for the mosque. That's like their only walkout song. It's just like the call to prayer for both of them. Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah. I'd be all about that. Let's see. So that's 3 title fights, Khamzat and Shavkat, and I'll throw another WMMA fight on there because it's me. I'll do Blanchfield versus Manon Fiorot. I'll throw that one on there. The very, very first fight of the main card. So yeah.
Yeah. Right on. Yeah. Okay.
Cool,
solid.
Last thing we need to talk about. We'll touch on it. Strickland and Dreki Duplessis.
Oh, yeah.
They get into it in the crowd.
Yeah, in front of kids and shit. Wasn't it Gilbert's kids? Were there?
Yeah. He politely told them to move out of the way, and then he leapt through the air and started hammer fisting at Drekus, and it looks like they got separated pretty fast. It wasn't really an ongoing thing. It looks like Strickland maybe got the better of it just because he was on the offensive. He was airborne. So optically, I guess Strickland, if you're going to say who won that little skirmish, Strickland, so I suppose.
I
think it was, it all felt, and this is no surprise coming from me, it felt very manufactured. And
Yes,
Dana
he
even
did.
came out and said, like, that was my fault. I had them sitting that close together. And it's like, why
Yeah,
else would you
sure it
have them sitting
was.
that close together? Like, there's no
Yeah.
mistake. There's no accident there. And I think
Yeah.
they also know, like, is that card. Let me skip ahead to what the booking for that card was supposed to be, because that card is supposed to be way more stacked than it turned out to be, because quite a few big fights fell off of that card. UFC 297 is headlined by Sean Strickland versus Dricus du Plessis, and co-headlined by Raquel Pennington and Mayra Bueno Silva for the bantamweight title. And then the rest of the main card goes Arnold Allen versus Evloev. Good fight. Neil Magny versus Mike Malott. Solid fight. But we're already getting into, like, should these guys be on the main card? And then opening the main card, Dominic Reyes versus Carlos Ulberg. Dominic Reyes is going to die. I mean, I guess for entertainment, like, if you want to just put a body on there, like, yeah. But this was supposed to have, originally, before it got rescheduled, Volkanovski versus Topuria. Islam Makhachev versus Oliveira 2 was supposed to be on this card. Jan Blachowicz versus Alexander Rakic. That fight, Blachowicz had to pull out, so that one fell out. So now it's left a little light on the star power, and I think that Dana recognized that and said, let's get these boys let's get them into some fisticuffs. And they're both selling the fuck out of this fight too, though. Dricus is quite the shit talker, dude. I did not expect that out of him. I know we were all on board with this whole, like, I'm the real African thing with Izzy. It was like, dude, that's kind of deep. That kind of cuts deep, and I think it works, and it was working. Who do you think is winning the war of the words between the two at the moment?
I think. Oh man, who's winning? I think not Sean Strickland maybe, but just because, like, you can't really hurt his feelings and you can't get as bad as what he's admitted about himself already. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good point. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he's admitted some wild shit. So it's just like, how can you fucking? That's what I always, like, as a chubby guy. That's what was always my go-to. Is like, well, if I just make the funnier joke about myself first, then you can't really hurt me. So, like, that's what I think about Sean Strickland. Is like, the guy said the wildest shit on Joe Rogan, like, in front of everybody. So, like, the veil is lifted, dude. There's nothing you can say about him that he hasn't said worse about himself.
Yeah, I think Dricus has had some pretty cutting words for him, where I think he's doing the better shit talking, but Sean Strickland is kind of invulnerable. Like, it's just not going to work on Sean, and it's I think that works out because it's going to work for the fans. You know, the fans are still going to be like, oh, he said that. You know, whereas, like, Sean doesn't care if you talk about how he was beaten as a kid. Where that's a pretty low thing to go after, but it's this, like you said. I mean, Sean wears that like a badge of honor. So
he's probably, like, had to go to that level of fucking psychiatric games to play with himself, to, like, talk shit, to where, like, no one's been in a darker place in their own head than that guy. There's no way. There's just no way. But, like, have you heard, I can't remember what I saw it on, but I saw it on YouTube. I'll have to try and find that link if I can. But it was like Eric Nixick talking about Sean Strickland. And he's like, he's actually, like, of all the guys I've worked with, he's, like, the coolest and most wholesome when you're just chilling with him. But then it's just like, Joe, dude, like, why do you have to be like that? And it's like, I hope he doesn't do the Colby thing. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't really have to. Colby kind of did it out of necessity.
Yeah.
Like, he pulled it out of nowhere, where Strickland is like, nah, he's about that life. Like you said, fucking Colby Covington is like, we'll have to make a meme, dude, of, like, the Wild Boys, like, pulling up to Bryce Mitchell and Sean Strickland. It's like, dude, you're obviously wearing a sheet with ears, dude. Like, chill, bitch. Like, this shit's, like, for real. You know what I'm saying? Like, dudes from Clovis they're not like, well, some dudes from Clovis aren't, but
yeah. I think, you know, as far as the words between DDP and Sean Strickland too, Sean Strickland was a little occupied with replying to some of the shit that Colby was saying about him also. So that he kind of was being attacked on a few different fronts.
Both fronts, yeah.
And props to Sean Strickland for his response to Colby, and also kind of sticking up for Leon Edwards, because you can joke about it, but everyone pretty much unanimously agreed to, like, dude, you don't fucking say that about someone's dead dad, you know? And Sean,
I might, dude, I might.
And Sean came out and I think he endeared himself to some of Colby's like troll fandom, and probably brought him over to their side, because at the end of the day, I'm sure they love to get under people's skin, but they'd still prefer Sean's kind of like his coat of his fucking frosting, the fondant of like, but you know, we respect guys who have accomplished the kind of things that Leon has done, and he's a good dad, whatever. I thought it was a good response. Yeah. And it was one of those moments for me where it's like, man, when you have me agreeing with Sean Strickland, like, you must have said some real shit.
If he's not dead, he's going to hell. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I mean, he can he's empathetic to that. Like, as someone whose father's in hell also, that's kind of fucked up. You know what I mean? Kind of thing. So,
stop, Brandon, stop.
Dude, did you hear the stories that he said about his own dad? That his dad would beat that he would have, that he would have to sleep. He would put a knife in his.
Oh no! He would
have to carry a knife and sleep in bed with his mom, because if his dad came home drunk, he'd kick the shit out of her. So that guy's in hell, and who gives a fuck what that has to say about that?
No. I haven't heard all of the details of those stories. I've heard they're very bad. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying Sean's dad isn't in hell. I'm responding to you that you keep on hinting that Leon Edwards' dad is in fact in hell. That's what I'm telling you to stop for.
Oh, okay, so like, that is fucked up. But like, I'm like, not. So this is also crazy to admit, but like, I'm like a older Howard Stern fan, and like I like that type of comedy, like that roast comedy shit. You know what I mean?
No,
and, like, they used to do that shit.
You?
Yeah.
No, I'm an old.
Laugh.
Yeah, I used to stay
they
up
used to make fun of like Robin's dad, how he like molested her or whatever, that Hands Bill or whatever, and all that.
See, I used to watch. I used to watch the late night Howard Stern show on like. Was it Channel 53 or? At night, like,
that one was crazy.
Yeah. But I think it was also an abridged version of it. I wasn't getting everything. That's for sure. It was the 4TV edition of it. But yeah, no, I know. I'm cut from the same cloth. I have a dark sense of humor, even though I'm like between the two of us. Even though I'm like the square on this show, like I think that's probably the sense that people get.
Yeah, I mean. Well, you'd be surprised which one of us can go near school. You know,
I live near a school, guy.
Call people first.
All right, I think I think we've talked about. I think we've covered everything that's worth covering from this. Yeah, dude. Thank you for another year of fun podcasting.
Man, this is 2023,
so cool, dude. Yeah, dude.
I'm proud of us. I said it on the last one, and I was being so. Like, I was being stupid the last time, but it was like, you're picking Colby Covington, so like, just be dumb about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, just do it. Just if you're gonna do it, just go. I did think he was gonna win. Not trying to like see like, no, guys, it was a joke, guys. I was playing for the views. Like, no, that's not what I was doing. I was just, you go Colby Covington, you do it. But like, one thing I said in the last one that I truly mean it. Like, I've had some chaotic times in my life. I've had some in my recent life. I've had some really like not chaotically good and bad, but every time I do this shit, it makes me feel a lot better about myself, and it makes me feel like I have something to look forward to when I get to talk with you, dude. So thank you.
Hell yeah, dude. Thank you for saying that. That means a lot. I never look forward to doing this. And then once we actually start doing it, I'm like, dude, this is so cool. I'm glad we did this. I'm glad I didn't flake tonight. But that's just me, like the little butterflies in my stomach, like, I don't actually know what I'm going to say. But
it's just best to talk shit, dude.
No, I love it. It's a good outlet. I watch enough of this fucking crap day in, day out every week. So I definitely do need a place to talk about it. Cause if I didn't, I don't know. Like, I feel like if I didn't get to come and express myself about it, there's a chance that I might have, because there's been some times when I've been close to being like, man, what am I watching this for? There's some the UFC specifically, you know, but being able to kind of just be like, no, just kind of separate from it and just let it be. It's its own amorphous kind of fucking thing. It's you get to stand back from the circus and watch it from the distance a little bit. I don't have to be like right in it. Man, I don't know who else I would do it with, or who else I would prefer to do it with, because man, you I don't know what it would even look like if I was doing it with anybody else. I know what it would look like if I was doing it with Mike. And
we do, and it's good though. I like it. I like
it's missing something. It is missing something though. Absolutely,
it's missing libelous fucking shit that I could get sued for saying. Yeah.
Well, I think when I'm listening to our show, I don't even think about like, how are people perceiving this? I don't ever think about that. I think about it. I think about it before we start. Sometimes I think about it right after, like, or as I'm editing. It's thinking like, oh, how's that gonna go over? But I'm not thinking like, are people entertained? Because I'm thinking like, okay, if Brandon is giving his takes and he's doing his thing and he's being what I can depend on Brandon to do, like, I think it's gonna be good. People are gonna laugh. They're gonna get some insight out of it. It's a perfect blend. Sometimes when the few times when we were doing the WMMA pod, I was sitting there thinking, oh, this is fantastic analysis by Mike. There's nothing wrong with it at all. I don't know if anyone is going to be able to survive this episode.
It gets hard. Yeah. And I think that's what makes it, like what you said was, you had said, well, I watch enough of this and I've paid enough attention to this to where I think you and I pay attention to it and we watch it differently. You and I do. And so I personally feel like I do a disservice for as much as I do. I'm not trying to talk shit, but I do know a little bit about it. But for someone who has already spent the amount of time that I do, I should at least fucking put some type of effort into what I'm watching and know it. That's why I do this. And then to do it with you to where you kind of like balance it out because you perceive it a different way and you fill in those gaps of like where I'm just saying stupid, like the stupidest thing you could possibly say. And then you kind of like flip it on its head and it's the other way. So that's what makes it good, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a good.
So sponsors, so that's our pitch. So if anybody wants to help, my family, and just you can tape everything. I'll totally sell out to like DraftKings or whatever the fuck it is. I'll sell my soul to you.
I hear
on Illuminati. Whatever it is, like
I hear
Diddy
a lot of
stuff. I'll draw the line at P Diddy. That's about it.
I hear that a lot of the advertising dollars from the podcast space are going away from podcasting. Like I've heard a few different podcasts that I listen to talk about how they've had to like lay people off from their staff, and that, like the difference from what they were making last year to this year in terms of ad revenue is like way down because they can't track any of it. They most podcasts, unless they're on Spotify, but for the most part, they can't really tell you, oh, I get this amount of listeners, they're from this age range or from this area, and none of that. They have no stats that they can pull from to give to an advertiser and be like, this is the kind of audience you're reaching with my podcast.
Yeah,
so
it's
they're
like
all
garbage
running
in, garbage out. Because they can say they get a ton of downloads, but like, are they interactive downloads? Because like on my phone, if you pull up my Apple Podcast app, there's shit that's being downloaded every week that I haven't listened to in years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, my podcast app's the same way. Yeah.
I only have to go in there. I only go in there because like my phone's like, dude, I'm gonna die. Like I don't have any memory, so like I have to delete fucking like your mom's house. It's like, what the fuck?
Fucking Wheeler Walker Jr. again. But
dude, like that's 9 times.
But the good thing is all or most of those like advertisers are all running to YouTube. And we are exclusively on YouTube, so maybe that's a positive. Maybe that's a little like gleam of sunshine for the future for us. So
yeah, definitely, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna put a bow on it there. Good episode. We will see you guys again very soon. We're gonna start deliberating and debating and talking about our fighters of the year and breakout fighters of the year.
Yeah.
Fight of the year and all other ites of the year.
Wow,
for 2023. We have a lot of homework to do.
Yeah, fuck. I'm not prepared.
A little bit of advice. Napoleon Bonaparte just dropped
It's
his
sick.
2023 recap.
Anything that guy does, just watch it, dude. That guy's
Tremendous.
that fucking ass.
Great
Dude,
content.
the Ultimate Fighter thing that he did is so good. The shit he did about Pride was so fucking good.
About the Ultimate Fighter thing, dude, I've never watched The Ultimate Fighter. I've said that a few times on this show. Like, it wasn't a
Really?
program. I started watching right when The Ultimate Fighter got popular, so naturally everyone
Yeah.
would assume like that's what got me into the sport. Back in the day on
Yeah.
the forums, you'd get called a tough noob because people would be like, "Oh, you just started
Oh,
watching when The Ultimate Fighter started." And I was like, "I'm not a tough
no.
noob. I don't watch The Ultimate
Yeah,
Fighter."
I was a tough noob. Yeah, I think I mentioned it on this podcast. Was like, and this is gonna sound embarrassing as fuck to say, but like I was in like a super dark spot in my life. So like I had nothing to do. I had no friends. I was monk lifing it, and like I
Mhm.
was just like a monk. I just eat good. I work out, and I fucking just try and better myself every day. So like a little escape would be like UFC fighting, and some like baseball cup was like super boring back then, and football was only like once a week, 4 or 5 months out of the year. So it's like, okay. But
Mhm.
fucking tough was there like every Tuesday, and then fights were on every Saturday. So I can like sit there and monk life it through that. So
Yeah.
then I would actually like watch for like I like loved like the BJ Penn and Jens Pulver and all that stuff. George St. Pierre, how he mind fucked Koscheck, that was sick. But the way Napoleon Bonaparte did it was like that Ratatouille meme, where like that critic like went back when he was a
Yeah.
little kid. You know what I mean? It like went back to a part because now I'm a father. Like I'm literally a father of fucking 3 kids, and like I have like this crazy ass these crazy ass responsibilities, and like that like flip my switch to like, bro, you're in like this little ass bedroom in your parents' house watching fucking Ultimate Fighter on a fucking TV on a fucking computer you bought on fucking Craigslist. Like it just took me all the way back to that, and I was just like, shit, dude, that
No
was
kidding.
the way.
I
But
was
and
about to
that's not
say,
to say anything about me. That's to say about that guy's content and how amazing he does that.
yes.
You know what
I
I'm
was
saying?
about to say, like, the reason I started to say that I've never watched The Ultimate Fighter was it actually made me nostalgic for shit I didn't even watch. Like,
Right?
it
Yeah.
took me back, and that's how well he captured it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And he gets into like what not even like what his headspace was when you're watching him, but like the collective consciousness was like in the
Yeah.
country and the world back then. It's
Mhm.
crazy. That guy is like fucking damn good at his job. And it's
Really good
very
stuff.
simplistic. Anyone can do that. Not to say anyone can, but like it looks like anyone can do it, but you can't. You fucking can't. So that's what's crazy about it.
Yeah. Well, my watches are going off.
Uh,
Yeah, but like I said, yeah, Napoleon Bonaparte 2023 recap that helped me remember a lot of stuff from this
yeah.
past year. So I'm definitely gonna draw from that
So we
as a
just start
source.
with like a fucking Irish fucking you could tell we just fucking bite off everything he did, but like starting with an Irish accent on the next one.
Yeah, instead of a trophy with Heihachi's head on it, it's like some fucking Street Fighter character or something.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, folks, if you made it this far, thank you for joining us again. Thank you for being here with us for another great year of MMA coverage, our own special brand of MMA coverage anyways. If you like this episode, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. And we will see you on the next episode of The Fight Plug.